On today's primetime local news, dozens of nurses came out in the cold in front of the Vermilion Hospital to rally against the government's health budget cuts.
We need to fight these cuts. They're going to affect all of us.
And a Valentine's love story. A couple who met online find love and get married after a life-changing accident. Plus, a well-known commentator, Rex Murphy, had all eyes on him last night as the guest speaker at the annual AgriVisions banquet.
I find something very connective with people who work in primary resources.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Earlier today in Vermilion, nurses, EMTs, and community members hosted a rally in reaction to recent budget cuts by the Alberta government. And as our Jasmine King tells us, they're scared for how public services may be affected, and they want their voices to be heard.
Solidarity was the theme for the people gathered outside the Vermilion Hospital rallying against the UCP budget cuts. Many communities around Alberta held their own rally to demonstrate how hospitals and public services could be affected.
Because of some of the AHS rollouts with Alberta Health Services that have come out, we're just worried about the privatization of healthcare, that nurse to patient ratios might change and affect patient care, and that rural communities like this one might lose an emerge department or lose a whole wing of their hospital due to budget cuts.
Megan Steiner, a local nurse, says the budget cuts would not only affect how much help she can provide in a day, but the quality of help the patients will be receiving.
If staffing levels were to change, then instead of me having 5 patients in a day, I might have 8. So the exact same thing that I need to do in a day with 8 patients, I'm not going to be able to do in 12 hours. And the only way for me to not be charging overtime, to stay late, to do those activities, is to do poor patient care. That's the only way you can do the same amount of work. And it's the patients that suffer. That is the only people that suffer. And then the taxpayer dollars aren't put towards effective care.
All types of people showed their support at the rally, including some former nurses in the community.
We need to fight these cuts. They're going to affect all of us. And we're all going to suffer because nurses are important to our system.
Even though most of the people walking were nurses, Steiner says it's more than those involved in the health systems that will be affected.
We just think that sometimes the public thinks that the nursing profession is worried about their budget cuts and rollbacks in wages, but it's so much more than that. Like RCMP could be affected, EMS could be affected, teachers are being affected. It's all the public services, and we want to show support for every public service, not just nurses. And we want people to know that all of those roles are so important in our community. We don't want to lose them.
Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
Well, with Valentine's Day tomorrow, love is in the air. For one Lloydminster couple, the journey to happily ever after was long and something out of a movie. Our Abby St. John has more on this once-in-a-lifetime love story.
After connecting on a dating app, Jimmy and Lori Mitchell have had quite the journey to where they are now.
Got a message from Jimmy. I got a few, actually. He was pretty persistent, and I was shy. And
she kept standing me up.
Yeah, well, he asked me on a few dates. And then I would say yes, and then I'd cancel last minute because of nerves. And finally, there was a night we were out, me and the girls at Bows for Wings, and I messaged him saying if he wanted to meet me to come there.
So I went there, yeah.
Yeah.
And I met her.
Yeah, and we met that way, and it kind of took off from there.
After a few months of going on dates and spending time together, Jimmy was involved in an accident that left him without his memory for a year.
In June of 2015, I went to meet my buddy in Lac La Biche to buy his quad off him, actually. And stayed there the night, and then the next day we went quadding, and after we were done quadding, we went down to the lake to wash the quads off and that kind of stuff. And I decided to climb up on the top of his side-by-side at first just to clean all the mud off it, and then I got up there and I was being goofy, and I figured I was thinking about jumping off just for a laugh or whatever. And yeah, I can't really remember if I jumped or if I fell. I still can't remember exactly what happened, but I woke up when I was face down in the water when I woke up, and I couldn't get nothing to move. My legs wouldn't move, arms, nothing. So I laid there and just waiting to die, really. and then my buddy Chad pulled me out of the water and got me back. I was out. I could feel my body filling full of water. And yeah, pulled me to shore, and I had to wait for stars to come and brought me to Edmonton. And Edmonton in for 2 days, I guess, with, I don't know, 35 pounds tied onto my head to straighten my spine back out. So then had surgery and then rehab for 8 months after that.
During that time, Lori had no idea what had happened to Jimmy.
I was trying to call, and I couldn't get a hold of him. I didn't get a hold of anybody for 3 days. Finally, I found out what had happened. But when I went to the ICU, he couldn't talk. So he was spelling on a board, and he said, "I don't know her." So he didn't even know me at the time.
No, I didn't even know my parents.
Yeah,
at the
he
time,
didn't
so
know anybody at the time.
So.
And I didn't know any of his family because they were from Newfoundland. They had
Well, our
never-
relationship was brand new.
Yeah, and it was
so.
pretty new, right?
It took over a year till Jimmy regained his memory of Lori.
Once his memory
Also-
become clearer, he had called me and asked me to come here and talk. So I did, and we've been together ever since.
I was scared to confront her because I knew I didn't remember her, and I don't know, it was so confusing because I figured she was mad at me because I couldn't remember her. So, but she forgave me anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was thinking about him the whole time. Like, I had written letters to him. I had gone to the hospital many, many times with my daughter, and we would just sit in the hallway and try to get the scoop on what was going on.
Yeah, it was quite the ordeal.
Yeah.
But we met back up, and gee whiz, a year later, I guess we were engaged, eh?
Yeah.
So.
Married, and we just got custody of his sons.
Through everything Jimmy and Lori have been through, they still love each other by showing each other in small ways.
Tells her I loves her every day.
Yeah.
I tell her how beautiful she is every day, and you just.
And the same, like, you gotta keep this spark alive, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty good at it. He's, I'd say, more better at that than I am. There was a day that I had come home once, and he had the song that he sang to me at karaoke, Amazed, on.
It was on the iPad.
And
She was having a rough day, so I
set
had
it
it
all.
all. I had it all set up so I could sing to her as soon as she got home. So.
Yeah.
And that cheered her up. So.
Yeah. Just little things like that, you know, making his favorite meal, or.
You're just saying you got to work at marriage or relationships or whatever, but I don't really look at it as work. There's a lot of work. Sometimes work you don't really want to do, but I want to make her happy, so
Yeah.
I do whatever I can
Aw.
to make her happy. It's part of my job, I guess, which I love. So.
Part of their story is fighting and winning custody of Jimmy's son Chris, making their family complete.
I got the perfect life right now. It's hard to believe actually that you know I've been through so much, and my legs and all that kind of stuff, and
We fought for 3 years for him. Wow. Yeah.
for my son, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long road, but like we've been through a lifetime of obstacles, but we're getting through them. We're getting over them.
Yeah. That's right.
So, and when we do fight. Everybody fights.
Yeah.
Every
It's
couple
only
fights.
healthy.
But we came up with a plan that if we fight, we push the pause button
Yeah.
until we calm down, or the next day, and then we'll push the play button
And
again.
always to kiss and say, "I love you" before good night. That's huge.
This is one love story that will last for a lifetime. For Primetime Local News, I'm Abby St. John.
What a beautiful couple. Well, Valentine's Day is a day to celebrate love, of course, and some people buy chocolates, teddy bears, and cards, but the most purchased item for Valentine's Day is flowers. A local flower shop called Art is Flower starts getting flowers ready 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. Kyle Lynn Joy, owner of the flower shop, says that there's no way of knowing how many flowers they'll need this time of year.
Valentine's Day is always the biggest day of the year for any florist. So what you'll find is we probably do, I would say probably 15 to 20 times the amount of volume as of any other day of the year.
And the cost of a dozen roses on their website is $189. Joy says although roses are the most generally thought of flowers, they aren't the most purchased flowers this time of year.
But we do get in those favorites like specialty roses, like rainbow roses, blue roses, purple roses, things that we don't get any other time of the year but this time of year. It's because people want those special flowers.
And if you can't find the flower you're looking for in their shop, you can ask them to order it in for you. And now a look at your weather with our Abby St. John.
Thanks, Judy. It's currently -10 here in Lloydminster, fairly cloudy skies. There's a bit of chance that we could see some more snowfall overnight and into tomorrow, early morning tomorrow morning. 18km/h winds coming in from the south-southeast, making it feel closer to -18 with that wind chill. Across Alberta, -10, also out in Cold Lake and Athabasca, -6 in Edmonton and Red Deer, +1 in Rocky Mount House and Jasper, +2 out in Edson, and -6 in Whitecourt. On the Saskatchewan side, -7 in Meadow Lake, -17 in Prince Albert, -16 in Melfort, -10 in Saskatoon, and -11 in North Battleford. Overnight in North Battleford, there is a 60% chance of snowfall over tonight, with the temperature dropping to -13, and that wind will be at 17km/h. Coming in from the south-southwest and remain that same speed tomorrow, but coming in from the west-northwest with a daytime high of -7 and a mix of sun and cloud. In Cold Lake overnight, there'll be about 2 to 4 centimeters of snowfall overnight tonight, with the temperature dropping to -12, and that wind will be at 9km/h coming in from the southwest and pick up to 20km/h tomorrow, coming in from the west-northwest with a daytime high of -9. Here in Lloydminster overnight, we have a chance of snowfall overnight tonight, with the temperature dropping to -11, and that wind will be at 17km/h coming in from the west-southwest and pick up to 20km/h tomorrow, coming in from the west-northwest with a daytime high of -7, which will feel closer to -33 with that wind chill and a mix of sun and cloud. And then to start your weekend off on Saturday, it'll be a high of -18, which will feel closer to -28 and a low of -27. And on Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -10, which will feel closer to -24 and a low of -19. That is a look at your 3-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. There wasn't a single empty seat last night at the Stockade Convention Center for AgriVision's Heart of the Farm Banquet. People from across the agriculture industry enjoyed an evening full of entertainment, information, and as Josh Ryan explains, an opportunity for networking.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome.
In a hall with hundreds of producers gathered for business interests, there's still a feeling of home and community.
Agriculture is in your blood. It's a lifestyle. So it's one of those things that I've run around here when I was very, very young and still be able to kind of grow up through all this and see everybody as they come through all this kind of organization. It's just been an amazing experience.
The annual banquet continues to draw big numbers for the interaction with industry members as much as the chance to hear from famed broadcaster Rex Murphy.
It's always ennobling to receive an invitation from people who actually work for a living.
Those people come to shows like this to try and gain a bit of an edge, to get, the insight on the new technology and the new ways of doing things, and it's something that we kind of strive to provide.
I usually come every year to go listen to the speakers and go tour to kind of see what new technology is there, and it's just always a great time, and I get to see everybody that I haven't seen maybe in a while.
I got 500 bees now, 500 now.
Finding innovation is critical right now as farmers deal with increased costs from rainy seasons and the reality of largely set prices.
The genetics of the crops that we're growing and how we can maybe adapt them to our climate a little bit better. The prices are set for the most part out of our control, so it makes it a little more difficult to contend with increased costs.
In meeting current challenges, farms have evolved, but the industry remains a primarily family-driven affair.
Farms have gotten bigger. They've become more, I suppose, industrial in scale. but still for the most part are run by families as they always have been.
And one of the ways forward in 2020 is selling that vision to the rest of the nation.
Things that we do every day seems normal, and it may not be normal to the everyday eye. We need to be able to interpret it a lot better so that everybody can get an understanding of what we actually do on a day-to-day basis.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local News.
LPSD is promoting kindness in their schools this month by holding different projects across the district. The grade 6 students at Rendell Park School are creating a Be the Eye in Kind video. They've made a kindness board and have helped younger kids come up with ways they can be kind. Each kid starts a short video holding it there with a kind of an idea in front of the board, which will then be compiled into a video that will play around the school.
Everything from be respectful to everyone, holding doors, sharing toys is another one. And so to hear the kids in the younger age, they have a different idea of what it's like to be kind, and it is helping someone with their pencil, whereas ours might be being a leader and being a role model around the school.
The school's vice president first came up with the idea to have a kindness activity, but the Be the Eye in Kind video was then organized by the grade 6 students.
Came up with the idea after they had kind of meshed some things together online, and then it went from there, and we just kind of kept it rolling, like, everybody should sign the board, and everybody should, maybe we should turn the whiteboard into a circle and have it be the eye, the dot of the eye in kind. So they did. I was really pleased with all the ideas that they had and how it came together.
The grade 6 students hope this activity will help spread kindness around the community. Well, Family Day is coming up this Monday, and that brings the annual event Winterfest here in Lloydminster, a community family-friendly event which takes place at the Service Centre and will have both indoor and outdoor activities. Winterfest has been an annual event for more than 10 years and has helped bring the Lloydminster community together to celebrate the winter season.
Last year was a little bit different. We had just under 4,000 attend. It was in the minus 30s, so it was very cold. This year and in past years, well over 5,000 have come out to this event.
Brown says this year they are adding safe new games and activities for the families to enjoy. They will have an extreme bungee trampoline, a life-sized operating game, and hammer down relay that will be hosted by one of their sponsors. They believe this event is important for people in Lloydminster.
But we still need to stay active and get out in the community, so this event brings everyone together. And you can choose just to stay inside and do the bounce on the bounce houses. And there's outdoor shinny. You can celebrate curling in Canada with the Lloydminster Curling Club. So there's lots just to embrace the winter and experience its many joys.
Winterfest is a free event and will take place from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Providing toys for the whole family to enjoy, Walking on Water uses its unique location to its advantage. Eric Bay has more in this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Walking on Water repurposes a house for its store, helping create a unique feel.
To start off small, I think that was key for me too, to start small and grow small, like financially as well, like as a small business, it's a lot to take on that kind of overhead. So yeah, being unique, it definitely, we're unique because we're in this house,
The storefront helps create a small town feel, which Morgan Tates wanted to bring to Lloydminster.
I grew up also in a small town, so I wanted to bring that experience of a small town business to Lloydminster. With growing up in it, for me, retail is an experience. It's something that when you go to the store, it's more than just buying it. It's meeting the owner, it's getting to know the staff.
Not just for kids, Walking on Water also has games parents will remember from growing up.
Games for the whole family, not just kids games or lots of crafts. But I also tried to bring in like things that were like unique. So toys that I remember as a kid, so it's something that your parents may have played with, or, so something that's trending today, but also that we remember that we played with as a kid.
Walking on Water has board games, models, cars, and crafts. And that's this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Homes are for everyone. Your home is your sanctuary, your oasis, your safe place. Let our family take care of yours while you get back to your life.
And now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
Welcome back. The Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan has compiled a carbon tax costing review and is hoping the government will exempt farmers from the carbon tax on costs related to their operation. Our Eric Bay has more in this week's Agricultural Report.
APAS's report shows producers stand to lose up to 12% of their net income by 2022 due to costs associated with the carbon tax.
The carbon tax on the propane for drying grain right now is sitting at 3 cents a liter. So, that depending on where you are in the province and what kind of grain you're producing, that would amount to probably, in the neighborhood of 50 cents an acre.
With plenty of producers using grain dryers after last year's harvest, the additional cost from the carbon tax has added to farmers' woes.
Not only the tough harvest, the poor yields, just all the marketing issues that we've had, the geopolitical problems in other parts of the world that are causing our commodity prices to go down, the canola deal in China and the pulses into India that have depressed commodity prices to begin with.
APAS is hoping for an exemption on tax related to grain drying and transport costs associated with farming.
Farmers, like anybody else, are expected to pay their fair share of the tax, but just the way it's set up, it just feels like this carbon tax is putting in a little extra burden on farmers compared to other parts of the world.
Producers are projected to lose 8% of their income in 2020, according to APAS's report. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Centre. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Centre with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
And now here are your agriculture prices for today.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
Last night, the Lloydminster Bobcats defeated the Sherwood Park Crusaders 5-2. This is the Bobcats' second win in a row following their 3-2 win over Drayton Valley. The last time the Bobcats faced off with the Crusaders, Sherwood Park laid a beatdown 8-1. The team says the change in defense led them to victory.
We played really, really good defensively. We clogged up the neutral zone where they like to get a lot of speed, and then Garrett Larson was huge for us last night.
Sherwood Park is currently ranked first in all of Canada. This is not the first time the Bobcats have beaten number 1 seed. In the middle of January, the Bobcats took down the Brooks Bandits.
Knowing that we can beat a team of that caliber, winning the game against Brooks in the fashion we did, and then we kept a lot of the same mentality when we played Brooks to our Sherwood Park game.
The Bobcats are one of only 2 teams to beat Sherwood Park and Brooks this season. The team hits the road Saturday and will take on Fort McMurray. Now let's take a look at your evening weather with our Abby St. John.
Thanks, Evan. Taking a look at our satellite radar, lots of snow and mix of rain and snow activity in most of Alberta and heading its way east to Saskatchewan. A lot of outside of Edmonton, Vegreville, Lac La Biche, Bonnyville, St. Paul, Marwayne, Cold Lake, Vermilion, Wainwright, and even down in Provost experiencing a little bit of snowfall over the past couple of hours. Here in Lloydminster, we could see some periods of snowfall overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Up in Cold Lake as well, about 2 to 4 centimeters is predicted to fall. On the Saskatchewan side, most of the region has been experiencing the snowfall over the past couple of hours, and in North Battleford overnight could experience some snowfall as well. A lot of areas in the region will also experience some overnight snow. -10 currently here in Lloydminster, -6 in Macklin, -11 in North Battleford and Pearceland, -12 in Maidstone, -13 in St. Walburg and Meadow Lake, and -14 in Green Lake and up in Isle of Cross. On the Alberta side, -5 in Provost, -8 in Vermilion and Vegreville, -9 in Marwayne and Bonnyville, -6 out in Edmonton, -10 in Cold Lake, and -11 up in Lac La Biche. And tomorrow, -7 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Wainwright, Vegreville, Edmonton, St. Paul, and Marwayne, -8 in Bonnyville and Lac La Biche, -9 in Cold Lake and Vermilion, and -5 in Provost. On the Saskatchewan side, -12 up in Isle of Cross, -7 in Green Lake, Meadow Lake, and North Battleford, -8 in Pearceland, St. Walburg, and Maidstone, and -4 in Macklin. And overnight across the region, Meadow Lake, Isle of Cross, Pearceland, Bonnyville, Paradise Hill, Unity, and Provost will experience some snowfall overnight tonight with partially cloudy skies in Murnum and Wainwright. -13 in Meadow Lake, Paradise Hill, and Unity. -14 in Isle of Cross, -12 in Pearceland, -10 in Bonnyville and in Murnum, -7 in Provost, and -9 in Wainwright for your overnight temperatures. Your school day forecast for tomorrow at 8 a.m. will be -9, which will be the remainder of the day with a mix of sun and cloud. And then by the time recess rolls around, the sun will be out just a little bit more. And then at lunchtime, a little bit heavier of cloud coverage. And then as school's out, the clouds will part and the sun will be out with a low of -11. On Saturday, a high of -18 and a low of -27. On Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -10 and a low of -19. So your week off on Monday, a high of -15 and a low of -18. On Tuesday, a high of -18 and a low of -26. And then things get warmer on Wednesday with a high of 0 and a low of -22 with a fairly sunny day. On Thursday as well, a high of -0 and a low of -7 with that same sunny, clear day. That is a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news in the question of the day coming up after the break.
Well, it's time for a question of the day. Of course, a special prosecutor indicted Jussie Smollett in connection with his alleged attack in Chicago last January. Well, Smollett will appear in court on February 24th. And the question was, what are your thoughts on his case? Of course, a lot of people are chiming in, talking about the fact that what kind of a crazy story he came up with. And then now he's being charged again, of course. And he really believes in that stuff that he did.
Yes, he does. Well, when it was all laying out a few months ago, he was looking at 6 charges. That's what he was looking at, and he was looking at jail time, and the special prosecutor who handled the case dropped all 6 charges just out of the blue. So the city of Chicago was like, no, you definitely mishandled that. And so when she dropped all the charges, the city of Chicago were trying to find another prosecutor because this wasn't right. They believed that she mishandled the case, and so bring in this special prosecutor now, and he is now recharging him with those 6 charges.
Wow.
And putting him on the stand.
Yeah, and as he should go on the stands, but he really believes he's innocent, but he made up all of that story. And the sad part about him is that the fact that he's really talented. His music, he can sing, he can play music, and in the show, he had such a great character in the show. So, and Empire, in case people were trying to figure out what show we're talking about, but it's interesting to me that he had all of that in front of him, a great career, a great thing that's happening to him, and then he went off and did this kind of thing.
And there was only 1 season left of Empire, which Lee Daniels cut his character out. So after that show ended, he could have went anywhere because of the talent that he has shown that he had. it would have opened up so many doors had he not done that and waited till the show was finished.
Yeah.
And there's no coming back from
There's
this,
no coming, for
especially
sure.
since he's still convinced that it was real.
Yeah. He'll never be hired in Hollywood, of course. He'll have to write a book later on and sell it to make money, for sure. And that is it. We're going to go back to our pets. Thanks for sending Pets of the Week or the Day with a chance to win a gift card from the Pet Pad.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Joined now by Rex Murphy following his speech here at the Lloyd X. Everyone in the building was very rapt at attention trying to listen to what you were saying, and certainly they enjoyed your sense of humor as well. What's it like to come back to a prairie town like this and sometimes see familiar faces, but also, as you were saying, see people that you identify with?
Well, that's a good question. It's actually very, very encouraging. Over the years, I'm an old person. No, I am. I've been out to various towns in the prairies. I've been to some farms, did some stories with checkup. And the more that I have encountered, I see the similarities in temperament between people in my own province as one example, but also within rural Canada as a whole. Personally, I find something very connective with people who work in primary resources, be it farms, be it mining, be it fishing. There's a reality in their being, to put it in a florid way, but there's something grounded. And the fact that farming and the farmers, and certainly people in the energy industry and forestry, they're having a hard, rough time. So in that sense, it's sad to see them in a plight, but it's very renewing to see the kind of spirit that they have.
What's it like in terms of doing this? I asked you this a little bit off camera. What's it like doing this sort of larger group of people? Because obviously many people know you from television. That's a very different sense of the job you're doing and the audience you're doing, because you only have a few people in a room, though you know you're speaking to millions of people at a time.
Well, it's a totally different mental event. I mean, I don't think people really care about what speakers do or do not. But there's obviously a great charm in speaking to a real audience. There's where you get your fun. And it is fun, even on serious topics. The connection that exists if you have a fine audience and you have a reasonable connection, the sense of back and forth. I always say that if there is a good speech, 50% of it is the audience. You can have the same approach, same lines, and if it somehow doesn't fit that moment, it's flat. These ladies and gentlemen here this evening, they were a delight. I can say it this way, I suppose. I got as much fun out of it as I hope they got out of me.
Now, you mentioned while you were up there that you're not a farmer yourself, and you don't have any...
No, not in Newfoundland, no, nothing.
But you did talk about, again, the importance that industry has to Canada. Yeah. Where do you think that the federal government and other governments, each provincially, or where their focus should be as...
They're not thinking about basics. Every toy that comes into their eyes glance, look, food, energy, housing, employment. Do the first things first. And then if you have elaborate projects or global causes, great. But there's been a stress in the farm industry for over 20 years. The family farm when I was covering it, the fishing industry, the forestry, the mining. The basic things have to be dealt with basically. And I don't think a whole lot of governments, certainly the current federal one, is even has an imaginative grasp about how important agriculture is. These are the essentials of everything. And there's a gap growing, this is the last thing, there's a gap growing between the governed and those who are governing them, between the so-called thinkers and the people who do the work. And we can't allow that gap to widen because it imperils the understanding we have of the country.
And I'll end it with this. What are you most looking forward to, whether it's a stop for yourself or it's an issue or an election that will come up over the course of 2020?
Oh, I'm not looking forward to anything, but I tell you what I said here tonight is true. I am anticipating with great interest what the decision will be on tech mining. And even if it's favorable, it will only be favorable in this sense that it has to be just a beginning. If they think that saying yes to one project when they've canceled so many is an answer, they're wrong. But if they cancel this one, they're going to have an explosion.
Thank you again for your time, sir. Rex Murphy here at the Stockade Convention Center.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Get your ticket today for the 17th annual Cutter Rally for Cancer, and you'll still have a chance to win the early bird prize, which is the gorgeous fire pit that's sitting right here at the Lloyd X. So get your ticket now so that you're in for a chance to win, and when you get your ticket, you're in for a really fun day on the trail. Whether you take part with your team in Cutter, maybe you're going to hop on somebody else's wagon, or maybe you're going to pre-purchase a ghost hand. Get that ticket now. You're in for a fun day, and you support a great cause. The Cutter Rally for Cancer, it supports Haying in the 30s and the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation. So get your ticket now for the event that's coming up Saturday, February 29th. If you want to pick up your ticket, you can stop by the Lloyd X. We've got a winner here. A lot of winners being recognized at the Border City Seed Show that's part of AgriVisions at the Lloyd X. And we've got a winner when it comes to plans for Valentine's Day night. Coming up tomorrow night, the Lloydminster Bobcats are hosting their 3rd annual evening out. It's a Valentine's dance, and you get to dance the night away to music from the Dirt Rich Band. They're going to play some of their hits and also some great cover songs as well. Plus, you help out the Lloydminster Bobcats. If you want to get your tickets, just stop by the Bobcats office. Coming up on Monday, it's Family Day and it's Winterfest at the Service Sports Center. So you can take the whole family out starting at 10 a.m. Admission is free, and there's so many different things that the kids are going to love doing and that you can do together as a family. The kids can play in the bouncy houses, a chance to make some crafts, play some games. There's going to be hot dogs. There's going to be a chance to roast a marshmallow. You can go skating. You can take a horse-drawn wagon ride. You can check out the Ernestine Hatpin Show, and the list of fun just goes on and on. It's Winterfest coming up on Monday at the Service Sports Center. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you have a great one. I'm Heather Klegus, and that's what's happening.
Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, a high of -7 and a low of -11 for tomorrow, and then a high of -18 on Saturday, -10 on Sunday, and back on Monday, a high of -15, high of -18 on Tuesday, and things then significantly warm up on Wednesday and Thursday, both with a high of 0 to wrap up your 7-day forecast.
Oh my gosh, how do you think of Valentine's Day with this kind of weather? It's going to be cold and it's going to snow tonight, and then tomorrow people want to stay at home probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not celebrating, so it doesn't really matter to me, but
no?
Yeah, I think most couples will just go out for dinner and then
or stay home.
Yeah,
because I'd stay home and watch a movie and just chill and order in and have like a little candlelight type of thing.
But again, for the most part, it's just another day.
Yeah, it is another day. It is a nice day, and it's nice when couples celebrate. I love that kind of stuff, but I get it. It's not always for everybody, right?
Exactly.
And that is it for the show. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you again tomorrow.